Hello, well, I can only say that this is going to be, if nothing else, probably the most physically difficult video I've ever made, just in terms of the logistics of the situation, because here we are having a recap of what we have achieved so far with the Wild Spirit revamps. Now we will come to these individual cards either in this video or in the next one, but it is incredibly difficult to try and get them all in so that you can see what they would look like. I have got another idea of showing you them, but this is virtually impossible. I don't even know whether you can see that. I certainly can't. So anyway, we will come back to this. I'll just give you a view of it like that. And that's not all of them, because they go all the way over there and all the way over there. I hadn't realised how many of them I'd done. So it was a good exercise to collate them, print them as they would be, tidy them all up, and now present them for your delectation, as it were. Or not, as the case may be, for you may find them unpleasing. Let's hope not. Anyway, first thing I thought I'd do, which I'm probably going to mess up my whole display, which is probably why I'm going to have to make a second video, because it'll all go all is I'm going to go through the book. The book is how I have laid them out so that you can see the original artwork. I hope we're going to get glints. I'm going to have to put it up here. All my lovely displaying is going to pieces. This is a plastic sleeved book because I am worried about getting these pieces out and in and out of the sleeves, because they're already getting a little bit damaged. And I wanted you to be able to see each card in order as they would appear in the deck, although there are gaps because I haven't done them all. For instance, we do not start with Mr. Minstrel the Fool. So we start off with number 1, which is the Magician, Magical Spirit, as I have decided to call him. As you can see, he is Magical Spirit. We had a video discussing this and I think this was the best idea. So I want to show you here the difference between, on the left, the actual original, although you're seeing it through a plastic sheet and it's probably not that brilliant. The colours of the original compared to the colours of the print. So everything I show you from now on in terms of how I've printed out the small versions, you can see what a loss of definition and colour and everything we are going to have. But well, let's just flick through these so that you can see how they are. I don't know whether you can see all of this. It's very frustrating. I'm holding it up and I can't see anything but a black screen, so I'm just doing it by guesswork and what's worked previously, but I'm probably going to be chopping pieces off. As you know, these videos are not what you would like them to be, as in snazzy and professional and so forth. They are as what they are, what I can manage to do. Let's do a quick close-up and then we compare over to here, and I just do this so you can get a little bit, you can see the difference. The ones on the left are going to be all vibrant and as I intended, and the ones on the right are what the printer decided to do. And then, as I repeat on every single video, you're going to get a much less improved version again, because I'm filming it and it will lose quality in the film, and then you're watching it on a screen, which means it will go a completely different colour and perhaps look bleached. But we do our best. Here we go. So number 2 of what I'm showing you, but not number 2 card. Here we have, yes, it is number 2 card, isn't it? So what am I talking about? Here we have the High Priestess, or as she is now, Visionary Spirit, Wild Dreamer. Now when I'm doing the next video, when I've aligned all my lovely cards all back up again, we can compare the original names to what they've ended up with. This is just purely about showing you the difference in my actual artwork and the quality of the print. So here we have the lovely lady herself on the left with the original artwork and the fine raven and everything, and the moth, and here we have the rather disappointing print where we've lost all the definition and colour. I think there were some people when I did this originally who preferred it, but I'm not one of them. I think I like the original better. But still, probably when or if it was ever printed as a deck, it would probably change its colour again. So this is what we've got for now. So then we are on to card number 3, which is the Empress. This has proved to be a little bit tricky when I come to the next video because I've actually lost my original Wild Spirit card. I had it only weeks ago and now it has completely vanished because I need it, and I've looked everywhere. So anyway, that will be a bit of a glitch when we come to the next video of looking at them, but for now here we have the Revamp in its nicely brightly coloured glory, shall we say. That doesn't sound too presumptuous. And then we have what we decided to call it, which was Wild Woman, which goes with the next card. Nurturing Spirit rather than Loving Spirit, because she is paired with the Emperor being the Empress, and he is Protective Spirit and she is Nurturing Spirit, so I think that goes much better. And there they are. I don't know how many minutes we've used up already. 6 and a bit. There you go. Now this one was particularly disappointing in terms of its reproduction because something about it around this area here has gone a bit wrinkled on the paper, so the print looks a bit like he's foldy, so he needs some work. Here is Mr. Emperor. The colours on this I was so happy with because there's lots of golds and silver and all sorts of things in here and loads of detailing. As you can see, if you go back to the original video I made focusing on this card, and now we get the kind of bleached out, not very satisfactory version. And he is called Wild Man, as opposed to the Empress being Wild Woman, and he is Protective Spirit. So that was our number 4 card. Hope you're getting a good view, and I hope this plastic is not reflecting too much of anything, because if I just keep yanking them out of here at this time, it's just well, I'll look back at the video and see whether it will suffice, shall we say. Okay, next one of the more recent ones was the Lovers, which had a very poignant and personal meaning for me, and you can see on the left the original, which was extremely vibrant. Very happy with the beauty of the colours in this one. And then we come, sorry, now this one has got a that one has got a wrinkly sheet on it with a cut in it, so that's not going to be a great, he has not really got a great big scar down his face. But the name Twin Spirits and Wild Connection, just so you can see the difference in the real art and the printed art, not helped by the wrinkled plastic sheeting. Should have seen that before I made video, but that's me, isn't it? This is probably why I got thrown out of the Girl Guides, because I was not prepared, even though that's the Boy Scouts motto. I'm sure it was the Girl Guides motto even. Moving on, we have card number 8, which was one I'm very, very happy with, which is the Strength card. Here is Strong Spirit, Wild Energy on the left, the original, and on the right, the not so vibrant and detailed. I'm looking at the original here, by the way. If only you could have captured all that hard work in the print, but still, hopefully when it comes to be printed properly, if it ever does, then those details will come back. This is just a going through anyway. Now this one is interesting because this one I did quite a while ago. When I looked back on the dates of some of these files, it was 2019. I cannot believe I have been doing these revamps so long and I haven't done them. It must have been a lot of physical pain and a lot of other things intervening. Otherwise I would have finished these all by now. Yeah, it's a bit of a shock really to think that I've been doing them for so long, but they do take a long time in conception, and even though I had the basis of them from the original card, it took a lot of revamping, rejiggling, reorganising, reconstructing, whatever. Anyway, so this was how she was meant to look. This is an original artwork. This is the one that you would have seen probably way back when I made the video about this card, which is number 9, the Hermit, only number 9 is now the Healing Spirit, or Healing Spirit, Wild Wisdom. I had a tricky time finding the name for this one, but we'll come back to that when we look at the individual cards. So that was the face that she had, but when I came to do the revamp of the revamp, because I've been spending time revamping my revamps because I started them in 2019, and of course how I'm working now, even in the space of a couple of years, is improved. So I didn't like that face anymore. I wanted a more realistic face that's in keeping with the ones that I've been doing more recently. Now in this one, if you compare the two of them, she's more realistic and she's sort of looking more directly at you. What I wanted was, this one has a lovely gentle face and she's kind of looking into the far distance and wistfully whatever. But what I wanted to do this one was a kind of an enigmatic look, that whereas she's looking at you but through you, she's not looking at the person she's reading for, who is anonymous. She's kind of not, I don't know, she's meeting our gaze, but she's sort of not. Anyway, this is the print. I can't actually tell you what's happened to the original. I only did this a matter of weeks ago. I don't know where things go. It's that disappearing object phenomena. I have it with my work. When I came to collate this all together and I'd lost the card for the Empress, and now I've lost the artwork for this, which I only did, I don't even know, it wasn't even it was very short time ago, and now I can't. So this one is original, this one is a print but with a new face. So somewhere there is the original artwork with the new face, but I don't know where it is. And you'd think that I was living in absolute chaos, but I'm not. I'm pretty orderly, especially when I've worked very hard on things. I keep them in my folder, but my folder has not got this in it. Do you have disappearing object phenomena? It's only the things that you want to have. Now, I've had lots of experiences in my life of things moving about, and some of them have been down to what I would not call poltergeist activity, because that just sounds like it's silly really, but it's been down to interventions of beings that live close to this realm who have not got a very good repertoire of behaviours and only seem to be able to interact with us by doing disruptive things that will cause us the most grief. I don't mean grief as in bereavement, I just mean trouble. In which case they will take the things that we need, i.e. they will move keys, wallets, important documents, artwork, anything really, and sometimes they will bring it back and put it somewhere obscure where you know that you couldn't possibly find it. I have found things on top of light shades, in the fridge, under people's pillows. On one case, something went from my room right through a wall and went underneath somebody else's bed next door. Yes, sometimes things are benign messages where things get moved, and that tends to be when you've been given guidance from your unseen companions by your good guides, and they say such and such will appear, and that will be a sign that such and such will happen, and that's a good thing. But these disappearing object phenomena, I believe, come from a dimension that is very close to this one, inhabited by beings who seem to have a kind of taste for our discomfort. Fear they particularly like, but I don't give them any more, but they do particularly like fear. They can't help themselves. It's just what they are. It's like, I said this in so many of my books, they're like sharks or wasps. You can't blame them because they do what they do. That's just what they do, and they seem to be in a level that's pretty close to this one, so that they can nip in and out quite easily, but they have a very limited amount of things they can do. They can create bad smells, they can knock, they can perhaps move things. Yeah, I don't want to give them much of the time of day, but I do think that I have had a little bit of an incident with some of those things happening. Now you could say, well, yes, but you probably just lost some poppy because you're a bit dippy. But years and years and years, at least 40 years of experience, probably more, of these things happening and happening to people around me, tells me that I mean, it is actually called disappearing object phenomena, but people put it down to other things. I put it down to, I'm not even going to give them a name. They don't really deserve one because they're so blooming irritating. So yeah, if I was being myself, I would tell them to off. I don't know whether my things will come back or not. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they will come back a long time afterwards. Sometimes they will come back where you would never expect them. Anyway, let's leave them because I don't want to give them any more of my time. Just to explain, that's why there is no original to you. Anyway, let's move on. Now we have card number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Now this is the last one that I revamped, and I was not going to be very happy with this one because it was very reminiscent of the old ways of working. It's a lovely card, it's very beautiful, and I have done my best. You haven't seen this one, have you? No, you haven't seen it, so let's look at it a bit. I'm on 16 minutes already. I don't know how I do this. I just enjoy talking to you, I think. I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't really like... It's not that. It's just that I've got things to say to you because I like it and I'm sharing something which I hope is important. Anyway, shut up. This is one that I have done very, very recently, and I'm only looking at the copy because this is the copy how it will be. If I show you the original artwork, I'm just showing you without the bits and pieces that I have added in, but still. So that was a revamp, probably in 1919. My goodness, I wasn't even alive then. Or was I? Anyway, this was probably one I did very early on. So I had to go back to it and give it a really good revamp. And now the colours are absolutely glorious, but of course you can't see that. And it's now called Spirit Dance Wild Fate. Moving on, because I'm going to lose time now. We will remember this one from quite recently. It is Silence, or rather, the Hanged Man. It's said in a very high-pitched voice for some reason. Yes, this is number 12, the Hanged Man, or as it was in my original Wild Spirit deck, Silence. Now, as we will talk about more in the second video, I had to change the names. Now, why have I got this one? Again, this is a bit confusing. I've got Still Spirit, and why? I'm going to have to look at this and refer to that in the next video, because I don't know why that's happened. The lettering of the bottom has not appeared for some reason. This is getting rather annoying and strange now. So yes, please, I am very organised about my work. I really am. And this is rather annoying. Anyway, we know this is Still Spirit. And didn't we have Wild Silence at the bottom? We did, because I remember lovely Daniel commenting that you could have a wild silence, and I don't see why not. But the words wild silence are no longer there for some reason, so tickety boo. Anyway, that's that, the lovely original, and the print, which came out slightly different colour. Better hurry up. Yeah, right, now this is another revamp. I was not happy with the way that this one looked. Primarily, it is Death, by the way, or in my case, Rebirth, Spirit of Change. This is the only card in the deck that has not got Wild. I tried putting Wild Rebirth and it just sounds ridiculous, so this will be the standout card in the whole of the majors that has not got the word Wild in it, but we'll come back to that in part 2. So here is the new version of the revamp. It is the revamped revamp. Now we have a cloth on the table, a magician's cloth, which highlights, you see, you couldn't really see the skulls and the parts of the animal on the table. Now it's got a nice red cloth and you can see they stand out a bit more. So that was the kind of addition that I did. And the spiral in the background denoting that that is kind of the tunnel that we come through and we exit out of between lives. I don't know whether we've done a whole video on the meaning of this card, because some people, I think, might not really get it. I think it was one of the more enigmatic ones in the deck that people were a bit bewildered by, so maybe we'll do a video on that as well. But there it is anyway. Now we've done him quite recently, so here's the lovely Trickster, the original art. This one looks quite, for some reason, looks quite shiny. I hope you can see him. This is the original art on the left and the print on the right. So he would be the fiddler in my Wild Spirit deck, or he would be the devil. So that's the print with the actual lettering on. I don't know why that is looking so shiny. Oh, I hope you can see these properly and I don't have to do this all over again. Right, here is another thing that I have revamped, the moon. Now I did the moon quite early on and that was how it looked then, which when I came to look at it again, it didn't quite work in the positioning of the scroll, so I had to do some jiggling on the Photoshop, and while I was doing some jiggling I actually did do some kind of colour work on it as well, because it could look so much better if it just had a little bit more kind of eerie colouring to it, which I could not achieve with a pencil. So most of the work, like 90% of the work is done, and you've got a shiny piece there, I know. 90% of the work is done, 95% of the work is done by hand with pencil, as I have showed you all the way through. Some of them have had a little bit more. I had to move that around. So she is now, the moon is now Illusionary Spirit, Wild Depths, and the colours on this one are absolutely extraordinary. If only you could see them properly. Just, yeah, they're just lovely colours. Lots of iridescence and the comet, and yeah, some of these warrant another video, I think. Anyway, going back to another revamp of a revamp, I didn't have to do a lot with this one. The sun was already rather beautiful, so this is the sun, or in the Wild Spirit deck. I'm going to have to shut up now. 19, Bright Spirit, Wildfire, quickly. Transformation or Judgment on the left, the original, and on the right, Awakening Spirit. I'm going to get cut off, so please excuse me. Wild Transformation. Another really beautiful, bright, bold card that the print does not do justice to. And finally we have the World. Another lovely, bright, vibrant card, the original on the left, and Wild Reaper and Harvest Spirit on the bottom. I shall just stay there. I am going to get cut off because I think I'm only allowed to do 24 minutes on this before it goes ping. So please see me in part 2. I'm sorry this has not been perfect, but hey, what would you expect? I did it with love. Bye.